Well, welcome back live right here on Pittsburgh CW, 7 nights a week. We're here talking sports with you at 412-575-2600. Bob Pompeani flanked tonight by the one and only Gene Collier. Gene, you got any comedy shows coming up?
I'm going to have another gig at the casino, which we sold out on March 8th, but there'll be another summer date that we'll be announcing soon on this show.
So check it out, Gene, at the Rivers Casino we're talking about.
Right, the Rivers Casino.
Rivers Casino. All right, in the meantime, I want to remind you of one other thing. Saturday, April the 21st, it is the annual Western Pennsylvania chapter of the Pennsylvania Sports Hall of Fame banquet over at the Sheridan Station Square. Some great people being inducted this year. Sean Casey will be there. Tyler Palco, Gordon Jones, Bob Junko, Swin Cash. You can get tickets if you would like to by calling their number at 412-915-3669. Again, it's 412-915-3669. It's a great time over there celebrating the successes of so many great sports figures in Pittsburgh. Let's go to the lines. John in Hampton. Hey, John, how you doing?
All right, John. That's Bob and Jane.
You're John.
Yeah. Yeah. With 3 weeks away from the draft, I'm hoping the Steelers concentrate heavily on the defensive side of the ball.
They will.
And there's one player in particular I like, and I want to hear what you think about it. And Gene, his name is Leighton Vander Esch from Boise State, inside linebacker, and he can play outside also.
They need both, actually, I think. Thanks for the call. I know the name. I don't know much more of him. Gene, I don't know if you've researched him.
No, I mean, the extent of what I know about him is that, as the caller said, he can play inside and outside, but that he lifted his stock considerably at the combine. So, yeah, I would think he'd be a candidate depending on which inside linebackers are drafted before the Steelers select 28th. I still think they'll go for an inside linebacker first.
Given, and they need someone also, if they're not going to put that fifth-year option on Bud Dupree, they may have to drive an outside linebacker.
Right.
Le'Veon Bell, again, with a villain tweet the other day.
Yeah,
he's painted himself into a little bit of a corner. I still believe he'll be here this year, but I also think the Steelers will draft a running back, knowing that he won't be here next year. Do you agree?
Yeah, I think that's exactly.
What round would you draft that running back, depending on who it is, I guess?
Yeah, depending on who it is, but I mean, I could see that as soon as the 3rd round.
Yeah, I mean, and look at around the NFL, you'll see guys in the 5th round, 4th round, they all become real good players right off the bat. So the day of waiting for them is over.
6th round.
Dave in Lincoln Place. Hey, Dave, welcome to the Sports Call. How are you?
Hi, fine. I have a question. I've heard something recently that a 4-man outfield where they don't have third base covered. What's the strategy behind that?
That was put into play the other day, and I was surprised to see. I forget the team that did it now. But the strategy is just analytics. It's like anything else. They believe that if they do that, whoever's batting, and do you remember the team? I saw this the other day, and I can't remember.
It might have been the Cubs, but I'm not certain of that. I remember watching the highlights and the commentators talking about Joe Madden, how he had kind of pioneered the use of the infield shift. And so it may have been the Cubs, but it is something that you're going to be seeing more and more because of data.
Right.
People just feel as though, the reward of placing your fielders in that way, outweighs the risk of having someone hitting a dribbler to third base. That's
the best way to deal with that is to learn how to lay down a bunt at third base.
Well,
practice it, and then it becomes, well, okay, pick your poison if you're a defense.
But I think that the data for the shifts and now maybe the crowded outfield covers the bunt. I mean, if you're willing to bunt in that situation, I think the other team is saying, go ahead.
That's fine. How about Charlie Morton last night, in case you missed it? We saw Garrett Cole the other night. Charlie Morton goes 6 innings with the Astros. He's their 5th starter, scoreless, 2 hits, 6 strikeouts, and there are people down there who believe he will win the Cy Young this year. I think Garrett Cole has a legit chance. That starting 5 is as good as it gets, I think, right now in baseball.
Yeah, I'll take the field, but those guys are pretty good.
Jerry in Hempfield joins us right now. Hey, Jerry.
Hey, Bob and Gene, I got a question for you. I'd like to get your opinion on it. This is a New England Patriot question with Bill Belichick.
By the way, they traded Brandon Cooks tonight.
Yeah, okay. Now, they got rid of him because he wanted a contract so much money, and they said no. So they said, you don't want our money? Go.
So the Rams have him now, and they're negotiating with him.
Now, they got rid of their defensive back during the Super Bowl. He didn't play. He was good.
Butler.
Now, my question is this. They offer so much money, and if you don't take it, they get rid of you. And Teddy Brisky says You come to New England to win championships. You don't come here to make money. And that sounds like an oxymoron. You know what I mean? They don't pay too much money, but they keep winning.
Well, they pay
Other
money.
teams
They
pay
just
money.
they draw a line in the sand. And if you're suggesting the Steelers should do the same with Le'Veon Bell, I think they're pretty much doing that by not they have a certain amount of money, Gene, and I would imagine they would be okay if he accepted. If he's not, they're not going to go to where he wants to go.
No, and they have problems too under the cap. They have, they're paying the quarterback an unbelievable amount of money. He has restructured, but eventually that money comes due. I don't think the situation is any different in New England than anywhere else in the NFL. Those guys are playing for money, and money is what drives the whole thing.
Rich in Johnstown is on the sports call right now. Hey, Rich.
Yes. Hey, have you guys heard any talk at all? You would think that the Cleveland Browns would love to take Le'Veon Bell off our hands.
They have another guy who's going to be far cheaper in Saquon Barkley. They're not going to take Le'Veon Bell. That won't happen, simply, right?
No, why would they pay him?
They got Saquon on a 4-year entry-level deal at far less money, and he could be more productive for all we know. All right, line 3 we go. It's Marionsville. We got James. Hey, James, how you doing?
Oh, good, Bob. How are you guys?
Good, thanks for
How
calling.
you doing, Gene?
Sure, how you doing?
Hey, my question was Matt Murray and the Penguins in the playoffs right now. You guys worried about him?
No.
At all?
I'm worried about some of the softer goals. Like, for example, last night or 2 nights ago, the Dmitry Orlov goal bothered me just because I thought it's one good shot, but you got to make that save. And it came at a critical time of that game after the Penguins had just failed on the power play. I think he's gone through it. He's proven how good he is, Gene. I only worry about injury more than anything else.
Yeah, I mean, I thought he looked bad on a couple of goals against the Flyers last Sunday, but since then I think he's been okay. I don't think he's playing as well as he was at the beginning of last postseason. It's not something I worry about because I just don't worry about sports. But I think I think the Penguins are not in as good a goaltending situation as they were this time last year. That's all.
It's hard to be in that.
Yeah,
I mean, you had 2 guys who won cups. Yeah, that's
right.
You're not going to duplicate that. Just as if Vegas goes into this and all of a sudden Fleury gets injured, now you got Malcolm Subban, and he's been okay. But if you rely on him to win series, that's a lot to hope for. By the way, Brett Kroboth. Thank you, Brett. On Twitter, he says it was the Astros who used that 4-man outfield.
Oh, okay. Thanks.
So thank you for that. I watched it and I couldn't remember what team it was. And we also have this CJ replying. He says, haven't played the right way since the deadline. Bottom 6 in the whole 18 played better as a team before the trade. I guess we're talking about the trade here of Broussard versus, where they were before, where they are after. I still think you got to see Broussard in the playoffs before you make a judgment on this trade, Gene. That's where he was required to come in and help.
Yeah, I think that's why he's here. He is such a good playoff performer. That's not to say he will always be, but he has been so far. I'd make that trade again. Now, you're right. They haven't been as consistent since that trade, but that's multifactorial.
So, real quick, what do you think when you're going to see Ian Cole and Patrick Hornquist get together? Because they will get together. They're both going to be in those traffic areas. It'll be fun to watch those two, huh?
I can't wait to see it. That's why we can't wait for it to start. Nobody else can either, and it's still 9 days away.
All right, we're going to take a break here. We got more calls on the way. We have Rick, we have Carl, we have Daniel. It's 412-575-2600. That puts you in touch with us right here on Pittsburgh CW.